Hello and welcome to Wholeness, a quantum experience. Today I'm really excited because we have Mary Lynn with us. And yeah, she's a great friend. She was one of the first quantum energy wellness bed owners, so she's got much more time and knowledge and wisdom around running a business, playing with the bed, seeing clients on the bed, and just for me, she's also this really beautiful example in the world of faith. And so I'm really excited to hear from her. Hi, Mary Lynn.
Hi, Ava. This is fun.
I know. So I think let's start pretty basic. And I'm just curious if you can share with us what wholeness, like that word, the frequency of that word, like what does that mean to you?
Um, that's such a big word and encompasses a lot. But for me, now it comes to a much smaller place, which is um, being in that place of unconditional love and alignment every second of every day consciously. So remembering all of who I really am and showing up in that being, in that unconditional love and consciously showing up in every moment and realigning for that. Whereas before, I think I might have checked, once throughout the day. I'm like, oh, am I aligned? Does this feel right? But it's a very different time, and I feel very different in it. In the fact that I just need to keep checking in consciously and living in that now moment, not in the past, not in the future, not in someone else's lane, my own lane.
I love that so much. And I just think it's beautiful. It's going to be fascinating to see, sort of like almost like as a social science experiment, to see how everybody answers that differently, because there's also like a real common thread, like that the way you talk about it is sort of similar in the way that Shannon talks about it. It was just like meeting each moment,
Yep.
and I love that there is that thread that we're all really starting to come into this like collective understanding, but also we have our own perspectives. Um, yeah, and I want to talk more about unconditional love, but before we do that, because I think in my interview I actually said that I didn't feel like as humans we're super capable of unconditional love at this point in time,
Ah.
and and as I reflect on what you just said, I guess I'm also realizing how that's not true, because some people are, and I do witness that when I am with you. And so,
Ah.
um, yeah, that is just a something for me maybe to reflect on later and have a conversation about. But so with this idea of wholeness and the way that you shared it as you've journeyed through life, right? Like I have this belief that we're already whole, we're just remembering it
Yep.
to some extent, but it's like, but we also, we're here, to experience something, to learn. And so I'm curious if you could share a little bit about your journey and what it's been like with wholeness throughout the years and how you've come to have the perspective that you have.
Well, I'll start at now time because you talking about unconditional love, I get that. But people have, I believe, this false illusion of what unconditional love is.
Mm.
That it's laying down and you don't care if people run over you or anything like that. You're always going to be that person. But actually, unconditional love is being able to truly love and respect yourself, because if you are that temple, like the temples and your mind, but your thoughts and that unconditional love, right? To be able to do that means you need to be able to take care of you first, and not in a selfish way, but in a way that you came here for this journey. These are the things you came to learn, and you need to forgive yourself, forgive others, have compassion for yourself and others, to step into this unconditional love. And if someone comes up in your face that you're not aligning with, you can still love that person and not like what they're doing. You can accept them for who they are, but you don't have to like that or put up with that. You don't have to be mean or unkind about it, but it's like sometimes the word no is a loving word, right?
Yeah.
So, including to myself, like on certain foods I know I shouldn't be eating. No. My body's like, "No, thank you." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll deal with that later, put that on the shelf." We're all human. We're all coming into it differently. And for me, it's been an interesting journey because I've been through a whole lot in life, just like everybody else. We've all had our experiences. There isn't a person that I've met that I didn't find interesting that didn't have an interesting life. I have never met anybody that just went, "It's okay. No ups or
Yeah.
downs." No. I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well, congratulations. I guess that's what you wanted, right? And you accept that. But the people that I meet are usually the ones that are, they've been through a lot. They've shown themselves what they're really made out of. And kind of like what I say, we come here to experience everything we're not so that we can remember everything that we are, right? So having those experiences, it's like, well, I'm not that and I'm not that. And that's where, I learned I'm actually safer than I think I am. And but I think the biggest point for me, yes, I had a quote tragic childhood, a part of abuse and torture and all that, like many others have been, and have come out the other side, right? And been functional, fairly happy people, went through therapy, had the mindset that life was happening to me and not for me. So until I had that major shift, which came with a lot of experiences and a lot of stories that I attached to emotionally. But once I was willing to let that go and see, feel, and understand, and know in my heart and soul that these things are happening for me, that's when the shift really started happening. Because then that made me responsible for my life, which is a huge shift. So,
Yes.
good, bad, or ugly, it's all me. So, I have to take responsibility for that. And if I don't like something, then that means I have to change course. So, and sometimes it's like, there are things in my life that have felt like landmines and I step on it and I'm standing there and I'm just like, I don't feel like dealing with this today. I can't move because I know if I do, it's all going to blow up, but I don't feel like doing it. And then it's just like, all right, well, how long are you going to stand here? Because you still have to deal with it. It's still going to happen. And so I've learned throughout the years now that, I just take it now as it comes. It's much easier. It certainly isn't like it was before. I think the energies have definitely shifted, where before it could take something 6 months to a year for you to figure out what it was, where now it's in your face and it's like, are you going to deal with it? Are you going to deal with it? Are you going to deal with it? It's like, fine. They're like, okay. So, um, being responsible for all those pieces has brought me down this road, and I know that everything that's happened to me is just an experience. That's all it is. And we're experiencing life in every now eternal moment. So there really is technically no past and or future. And all I need to worry about is staying in this lane and what's in front of me. And I'm always going to be safe in whatever it is that I've scripted myself to learn and need to have the experience of is right there in front of me. I don't need to go looking for anything. So it's a very different place. It's a very quiet place now. Like my head isn't as busy. And so I came from, I'll say the biggest point for me was hearing God, the universe, my soul have a conversation with me telling me to retire from AT&T after 23 years. It's just like, "Excuse me? Like, this is steady money, I get 6 weeks vacation." Like, I'm up in age. It's like, "Wait, what?" So, I took a leap of faith, and a lot of synchronicities happened that kind of put me in that place. So, I remember going to Sedona was my bucket trip, which is where I met Jason Estes, and, that connection started beginning there too, as did with a bunch of other people online that normally I never would have,
Right.
had time to connect with because 'cause you're at work, right? So, I got off the plane and I was officially retired, and I had about 3 months of doing nothing, which was very, very unusual for all my life because I've been working since I was 15. And
Yeah,
so
ready to change.
yeah, so if it wasn't a job, it was being a mother. So, I mean, just all day, all the time. And, so I didn't realize how much I attached to how important it was I thought it was to sleep, how much stress I was taking to ramp up for a job and ramp down leaving, ramp up, ramp down. It's like the amount of energy it took. Work was stressful. Um, I enjoyed it on some levels. I liked making a difference, particularly in a huge company like that. Um, so that part was good, but I definitely was ready and it was time. And so throughout the day, I would think I had a list of things I wanted to do and like I'd get none of it done. I'd be like, what's going on here? But I would do this because I felt guided to do that. And I'd go over here. And it's like, so the right things were getting done at the right time. And my kids would say, what'd you do today? And I'm like, nothing, everything. Like, right. So it was kind of like, it was perfect. And then one of my daughter's friends had cancer. And that's when Jason Estes was putting out the quantum energy wellness bed. And I heard, get the bed. And I'm like, I just retired. I'm now on a fixed income. And it's like, it's $38,000. It's a lot of money. And so I took it out of my retirement. And I had never run a business, didn't know anything about it. And I was on my own, literally trying to figure out a new product that nobody knew anything about. There wasn't a lot of information for me at the time with the company, just that it was amazing, which I totally believed in because I could feel it. Um, and learning how to set up, calendars and timing, but also personal things pushing up against me. Can you do this? You know, um, Trying to control when people would sign up so that I could have it all together and then learning to go like let go, it'll all be fine. It'll all set up the way it's supposed to. And as soon as I let go, then it's like I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And then everything goes tick, 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 and it all lines up. And it's like, fine.
Mm.
So I learned a lot. And I had constant challenges. But see, that was the difference between working at AT&T and working for myself is and even though I didn't have any tech support like I did over at AT&T or resources like I did at AT&T, it's like I was all of that and they were challenges and not stressful. And so I looked at it as more as a venture-ish kind of like thing and not working at a company that I'm doing their things, right? The way they want me to do them. I mean, I won all these awards and everything, but it didn't matter. This was much more challenging, more interesting. And the things I learned, I enjoyed the connections I made with the people were amazing.
Mm.
Um, and then I moved to my new space where I'm at now, and if I hadn't been where I was for the first year, I wouldn't have known what to do and ask for when I finally got my own place for going to 200 square feet to 1,000, right?
Yeah, it's a
So
big change.
huge. But then I got to bring all my gongs and my bed with my biomat to do Azure on and all my other fun stuff. So it's like, but I wouldn't have known any of those things had I not had the experiences before. And at times, like I didn't know why certain things were happening. Like even having the space in the basement, I'm like, God, like seriously, a lot of what happened to me was all in the basement and stuff. And I've gotten over that, but it's like I really like the sunlight. I could just keep hearing it. Get the room, get the room. I'm like, fine. So I get it, but no one had told me that the bed made sound. So that
Mm.
when they delivered it and they turned it on and I went, "Wait, what?" They go, "Oh, yeah, it makes sound. These are all the frequencies and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Now I know why I'm in the basement because I wouldn't be a distraction to all the other facilitators in the building."
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
having faith And going forward, whether you know why or not, is really important. And so in the end, after being there for a year and getting like learning how to schedule, learning how to let go and not control how people set it up, a whole bunch of other little things all involved in the bed kind of being new, nobody knowing about it. I mean, so many different things. The basement kept flooding where I was at. And so about the third time, the water was like this deep and much closer to the bed. I can remember walking downstairs and I could hear, "Do you need me to send a boat?" And I'm like, "Ugh." He's like, "Time to go and grow." I could hear it. "Time to
Um,
go and grow." And I'm like stomping my foot literally like a little kid. It's like, "I just stabilized." And they're like, "Yeah, perfect. Time to go and grow." Like, "Gosh darn it. I don't want to." And they're like, "Water's gonna keep coming." I'm like, "All right, all right." So I ended up finding the place I'm at now, and it was a hot mess. It's like a 1960s ophthalmologist office, and it was terrible. And I could hear, "Get the space." Like, I'm going backwards. It was a really nice place, it's like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. "Get the place." And I'm like, "Don't want to." "Get the place. See the dream. Get out of your way, Mary Lynn." And I'm like, "Oh, fine." So then I started seeing things. All right, if we take down this wall, can we make this a pony wall? Can we paint this? Can we do that? Blah, blah, blah. I got everything I wanted. My landlords are amazing. I mean, they did everything. The only thing I had to pay extra for were the solid oak doors, and some butcher block countertops that I wanted. But other than that, it's like they did everything and they were so kind and so generous. Um, they were amazing. And the other thing too is that see, this is about staying in alignment. So I'm hearing "get the place," even though it looks awful. Then I'm also hearing um, "sign the contract." Well, this was the longest lease I have ever seen in my life. It was a 24-page lease.
oh,
24-page lease. And I'm reading it. It took me 2 days to soak all that in. And I'm like, "Okay, this is more for the landlord's protection." I'm like, and I could hear "sign the lease." Like, sent it over to my attorney, and he's like, got to the 3rd page, and he goes, "Mary Lynn, I highly recommend you not sign this. I wouldn't sign this." There's, like, dead silence on the phone. He's like, "You're gonna sign the lease, aren't you?" And I said, "Yep." He goes, You don't have a leg to stand on. I don't care what they say or how nice they seem, you have no leg to stand on." I said, "No, I'm good." So, I signed it, and it's been amazing. 'Cause it's all in alignment. It's about having faith, and even though it doesn't in your head seem right, all the tumblers are clicking in so it all aligns, and it's like living like that. It's like I realized up until, like, the last month or 2 that it's always kind of been like that since I started figuring out life was for me, right? So,
yeah,
it's like those things are showing up more and more if I just let go and be.
yeah,
Right? So, there are times, I mean, the business got super busy right away. Jason was talking about it all the time. I was booked 3 months out. It was amazing. Like, I hit the ground running. Like, I moved in one day, got it all set up, and I was doot, 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 doot. I mean, I loved it. And then all of a sudden, things got really quiet after about a year and a half. Nothing. Crickets. And I think part of it was people were having the fear of missing out and trying something new.
right.
And I'm grateful for all the people that were brave and badass enough to even get on the bed because to even think outside the box about what wellness can look like and who you can be on an emotional, spiritual, physical level while being on that bed is no joke. So, it may seem like a really nice, yummy, warm experience with lots of awesome spa like music on it, but it's so much more.
Yeah,
And
that's for sure.
right? So, it's like so I'm grateful for the people that got on, and now the people that are coming in are more guided to come, but also a lot of people don't have the awareness anymore. Now there's this huge gap again, and, um, I know that's going to change how, I'm not sure. Um, but I know for me on a personal level, this bed, when I talk to people and they wanna purchase the bed and they're like, "Well, how's it been for you?" And I'm telling them, like, "If you get the bed, just know it's for you and then for everybody else." Because once you get the bed and actually once before you even purchase it, you're putting it in your field, right? So your world
Oh,
starts to change. And that's what happened to me. That's how I ended up doing what I'm doing and stepping into remembering all of who I am and letting go of all this stuff that we consider to be important and we take personally and somebody hurt us, you know, because it feels so real. But ultimately, is it? Because it's what we're allowing. So, yes, it's from our past. Those experiences happen, but do we want to give power to them still?
right. Like you're not your trauma. You're so much more than your
Right.
trauma.
And the thing is that even now where I'm at, because I'm nowhere near a hole yet, it's a journey to be sure. But what's interesting is that now I'm aware when things push up against me, it's like I know it's mine. It doesn't excuse behavior from someone. Um, that's on them, but you're the one being triggered by it. All they're doing is being who they are, right? So, and
Yeah.
if you don't like that and you don't align, then don't be there anymore. But also be grateful for the gift you were just given, which is, ooh, obviously I'm still carrying something with me that's connected to my traumas that I can choose to let go of if I don't want to hold on to it anymore.
Yeah, they're always like, yeah, these really beautiful opportunities for reflection and like attunement to like fine tune and get deeper into alignment with who we are.
And we don't know what it is until we hit it. Like there are
Yeah.
many times where I'm like, oh, that was a rough month. And it's like, I feel all like level and stable. And it's like, I know better now. But it's like, well, great, because you just let in more room and spaciousness for whatever else you need to let go of that you already told yourself you wanted to, but you didn't know how it was going to show up. So, oh, there it is. Like, and there's nothing like family for the most beautiful triggers.
That's
You
advanced level awakening.
Totally, totally. And it usually brings up old trauma, right? That's nothing new, like, that person irritates me or whatever. That's old stuff. That's more, love-based abandonment, all those things.
Well,
And
I'm
we
curious, actually, as you're bringing this up, because one thing too that I've noticed, right, is like if we're away more regularly and we're growing as a human and adapting and evolving. And then we go back. I feel like oftentimes too, there's some crunchiness in that there's this expectation that you show up as who you used to be. And I'm just wondering what you feel about that. So for me, it's like it's that piece, like plus the triggers of past trauma.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part, and in actuality, I mean, when you say that, that's where we're at in the world, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right? So, I think that's one of the biggest pieces that we have, and, um, I've come to a place where I've learned to accept, um, that person or situation where it's at, and as much as I might miss that connection or not understand why you don't want to understand and clear it up,
Mm.
they just don't, and, that doesn't mean I stop loving them. I just won't anymore. It doesn't feel good. If it doesn't, my whole body knows when it doesn't feel good. And the family stuff, again, I think is the harder stuff. And I'm very, very blessed that I have three beautiful adult children that I can have those kind of conversations with because I just moved. I was living with my daughter for about 8 years and moved back out on my own again. And it triggered a bunch of old stuff that I didn't know was there, and, um, it was really like, old, deep pain for me, being abandoned at a very young age, and unloved and the whole 9 yards, and so I didn't know moving out of my daughter's house was gonna trigger that. Like, I've been on my own for 30 years before that, so it's like, it's not like I hadn't lived on my own before, so it made no sense, but it's like, as she's not wanting to hang up and this sounds so silly, but to hang up certain Christmas decorations that are mine, and she's like, "No, I don't wanna put this up," like, and in my head, which makes no sense, all I could hear was, um, oh, what was it that was coming up? Out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind,
Mm,
and I'm like, "This is, like, crazy," like, and I'm starting to get teary-eyed, and she's feeling it, right? Because I'm the mom, and she obviously wants to maintain her autonomy, but also doesn't like that I'm upset, right?
yeah.
So she's like, "Forget it, we're not gonna do any of this today, blah, blah, blah," and I'm just like all I could hear was and I'm telling you, this was very old stuff because all I could hear was, "Run, run," like, fight or flight, like, "Get out
Mm,
of there," and I'm just, like, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and I'm just being patient, being calm with myself, letting myself sit with it, and about 20 minutes later, she gets back up, and she goes, "Mom, listen." She goes, "Your stuff, there's some stuff I really like, and it reminds me of you, and if it reminds me of you, if you're okay with me keeping it for a Christmas decoration, I like to keep it, but if it doesn't have any attachment to it for me, then I don't want it." And I'm just like, I'm still at that point, like now crying again, like, no, I know I feel the exact same way. But it was just so powerful of what I was feeling. And I'm grateful that she was brave enough to get back up and continue because I definitely was not in the best place. I was definitely in just survival mode.
yeah.
And I'm driving home and I'm like, now I'm remembering I'm that 4-year-old child in the rocking chair, sucking her thumb, singing Nobody Loves Me. So for me, that was the button that got pushed. I didn't know I was still carrying that, right? So with me leaving Katie, it's like, well, if I'm out of sight, out of mind, it's like I never existed, which is so silly because my kids love me. My kids have always told me, "Mom, with all the things that we've done in life and how all the mistakes we've all made, the one thing that we always knew is that you loved us. Always." And that was the most important thing to me anyway.
Yeah.
So it's weird how all these things can take over and they push on you and you don't see them coming. They just, boom, they're right there. So it took me, I would say, a good 2 weeks to alchemize and process that, and it was about having the thoughts and allowing myself the feelings of that 4-year-old sitting in the chair, because that was the experience I had, and that's how I felt, all those feelings. I mean, I wasn't really wanted anyway, and it was a dangerous situation, but it's like, that's just kind of triggered all that. So now I can talk about it, and I'm not crying and upset about it. Because, well, one, now I can kind of see how silly it was, but also how beautifully important it was that I got to have that,
Yeah, what a beautiful healing moment, an
right?
opportunity for
And I got to
you.
have it with my daughter. My poor son, though, he was sitting on the sofa and he's on his cell phone going, "I don't know what's going on. I'm staying out of it." He's like, "Oh my God." But yeah, so it's like those things still come up. I mean, that was what, I don't know, 4 months ago. But even now, things have changed. The world's changing. We're changing every second of every day,
So rapid right now.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like even as you and I talk, it's like, so what was one thing one week, the next week, yeah, okay, I'm past that, but hey, how about this?
Yeah, I feel like I could ask you these same questions, like, in 2 weeks, and it'd be, yeah,
Totally.
completely different conversation, completely
Yeah,
different responses, yeah.
yeah. So for me, they're all gifts. They don't always feel like gifts, but they're always opportunities. But again, I think it's because I'm choosing to understand that life's happening for me, not to me. If you're still in
Yeah,
the thinking life is happening to you, then you're not taking any responsibility for where your life is going, and that's a much more difficult place to be. and a lot of people are still there. And so I just accept that we're all on this journey and we all wake up exactly when we're supposed to.
Do you feel like, do you ever waver in that, or do you stay pretty stable and strong with that life is happening for you?
Yeah, because well, because my thoughts and feelings are that for me, free will happened before I got here. This was the script I chose, and I had major points to hit to
Mhm.
wake up and do the things I needed to have. How they showed up was its own thing. Um, so for me, it's just the script playing out. Once the script is playing out, which we're all going towards, I believe, and all the scripts are played out, then we all get to choose again. That free will
Yeah.
comes in. I mean, we have the free will to choose how we're going to experience these things, but we're still going to experience them. So it's a very interesting way of living here in this construct, right? So yeah, so that's why I always consider everything an experience. And being older and stuff, people are like, "Why don't you just retire and, you know, do what everybody else does? Why are you working? Why are you putting yourself and challenging yourself like that?" I'm like, "Well, one, I'm having fun. I love playing my gongs. I
Right.
love connecting with people. I mean, I'm liking it all. But also, it's like I came here to experience all that there is for me because this is an eternity, right? We are eternal beings. And so I don't want to waste any time. I don't want to go back and think, oh man, if I had just let myself have that experience and not just laid back and done nothing, like I had all that opportunity. Like I don't want to do that. I want to take advantage of every experience that I can so that I can remember all of who I am and step into it more fully.
Mm, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
I
Wow.
love being here.
Ah, I feel like I already think of like 10 other conversations I want to have with you, but we'll just have to have you on more for that.
I'd be honored.
Yeah. But before we go, so I have two more questions for you. And
Sure.
one is, do you have a favorite simple tool or practice to support with wholeness or
Okay,
this
so
journey that we're on?
this is gonna sound really weird because I'm not one of those people that journals and I don't do that. And that's all great and wonderful if that aligns for you. But my tool is living, seriously, because that's what teaches me my discernment on everything, right? So I know if I'm aligned or not. It's the best tool there is because by doing it, it's like and all the mistakes that I've done aren't really mistakes. I've gained so many tools and resources and things I wouldn't have known had I not, like, got out of alignment for a little bit, and maybe that's part of the script as well. Just saying.
I love that so much as a recovering perfectionist because that just like really, right? Because you don't do things when you're a perfectionist, you don't do things because you're
Yeah,
afraid that you're going to be out of alignment or you're going to hurt someone or whatever,
right.
that fear is. And you just spoke to that like so beautifully because, yeah, we are like, to some extent, we're just experimenting. And
Yeah,
yeah, how do we?
and discernment and clarity are the 2 most important things to figure out that alignment, and for me, I was a perfectionist. Oh my god, it's like, God forbid I made a mistake, I also was a chameleon. I mean, that's all that survivor right,
Yeah.
all that survivor stuff, I'm gonna be this around that person because I know they like that and this and that, and no, I just don't care. Like, it's not that I don't care, like, flippantly, it's just like, I'm just being all of who I am, and you don't have to like me, and I'm okay with that. I know there's a lot of people out there that probably don't, and we don't align, and that's okay. Find your people, that's the beauty of it. That's that discernment and clarity again. And it can
Yeah.
change, and it can change, and
It
giving
does
yourself
change. Yeah.
permission to let it change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're in very different times now. We're in beautiful times, and I know things are seem chaotic on the outside, but I think where we're going is beautiful. And I'm not talking about political stuff. That stuff's going to have to rise and the scripts are going to have to play out too. I don't care which side you're on. They all have to be played out. So, you
Yeah,
know, do you
absolutely.
just don't
Yeah,
give your energy away to things that aren't
absolutely.
yours.
Well, and if you walk through life with the belief that life is happening for you, then it's gonna look better. Like your perspective is, because then you're like choosing to really see life in a different way.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm
so
not
like,
talking about spiritual bypassing or any of that.
yeah,
You
no,
you gotta experience life, just don't attach to all of it.
right, and don't be a victim,
Oh
like
god,
you
please.
said, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're taking responsibility, and sometimes it's hard to take responsibility, but once we're in the driver's seat, then yeah, we can just like lead our lives in a much different way. I mean, I
Well,
feel like I'm still learning a lot of this, but yeah.
but we all are because you know what? Different things are coming up, the energies are shifting and changing, so basically, it's new all the time now.
That's the most true thing, yes.
Yeah,
Every moment is new.
yeah, and so and particularly because we're living in that now, and some people are not living in it consciously, and other people are. And
Right?
it's we're all taking each other there. And so even sometimes seeing people that aren't consciously living at this point reminds me of how I am. Because sometimes it's like living and making decisions in that every now moment, that eternal moment, sometimes can get lonely because you're like, is it just me? Like
Mm.
it is, it isn't, it is, it isn't. So it's a very interesting time to have those kind of awarenesses, right?
Yeah, the most interesting time because we've
Yeah,
never really
been here.
been here. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
new.
yeah, I'm excited.
Me too. And on the excitement level, do you have anything that you want to share about you and what you do that's exciting? I mean, you've already alluded to some of that stuff, but just want to share a bit
Um,
more about what you offer.
what I offer is I do offer the quantum energy wellness bed, both in person and distance sessions. I also have, I do have them. I also have the Loomis balls, both the sky and the matter balls, which are biophotons. You can get information on my website with that. These are fun to play with separately and or on the bed. Um, like you could purchase these on your own to have for your own personal self. Um, like if you have a pain in your elbow, these things are amazing. It really assists with that. And then the lovely big sky ball actually would address. Oh my God, hold on. Actually addresses where that pain's coming from and starts working with you on that. So I've used these in so many different ways and played with them on the bed. The bed by itself is amazing, but adding the matter and the sky balls are biophotons, but it's a game changer too. So come play. And then I've got my gongs that I play, private sessions, regular sessions monthly. I have a gong bowl that you can stand in or sit in, and I walk around and play that, and you can feel all the energetics going through your main channel, through your chakras. Um, and then I also offer Azure hands-on vibrational healing on a biomat. Biomat's amazing too. You know, it's all amethysts that get heated, and just oh my god, I tried to keep that at home for at one point, but I'm like, "No." I needed a king bed. It kinda was taking up too much space, and I couldn't sleep on it all night. So, yeah, it's on my massage table, and I do that. And I do conversational empowerment too. Sometimes people just need to talk and have someone hold space. No judgment on it. It's like you get to do you. It's like I celebrate anybody that's, again, badass enough to come through my door or have a conversation with me because that means they're stepping out of a box that is not easy for them. So I always celebrate and congratulate them. So that's some of the stuff I do. Drumming events. Yeah.
Such good stuff. I actually had chills when you're talking about the gongs, and I've had a lot of conversations with you, but that was like a first that it like moved through my body. It was really cool.
I
Um,
love playing my gongs.
yeah, and also just again, if anyone wants to do the conversational empowerment with Mary Lynn, I can just say I've had a lot of beautiful conversations with this woman, and I always feel really safe and held, and always feels like there's this beautiful creation, like collaborative energy when we're in space together. So yeah, I should
Thank
definitely
you.
have some conversations with Mary Lynn.
And
Yeah.
I'll try not to talk so much. I try in those sessions really to listen and just ask questions. And sometimes some people just they have nobody else to talk to, or particularly now in these times, like this families are split up, so they can't really talk to their spouse or they can't talk to so and so. They just need some place to put all that and have a real conversation with someone with what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. And it's not therapy, it's just me listening to you and possibly asking questions that might help you with your own clarity and your own discernment.
Mm, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Mary Lynn. This was
Thank
really
you.
fun. And I can't
Yeah.
wait to have you on more. And even with Shannon, like I know I almost feel like Shannon needs to have a one-on-one with you, and then we'll both.
I'll be happy to I
Yeah.
haven't talked to Shannon forever, so that would be amazing to do that as well. I would love that.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you.